Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice's son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
So what if King Charles is worth £1.8 billion? It's not as if it's in cash.ですof it is tied up in crowns. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined by producer Martin. And what a show we have this week.
Oh, yes, indeed. We had one of Fox News' lawyers on to talk about their $787 million settlement with Dominion Voting. We had Eshaan Akbar with his new regular segment, ApologyWatch. And we had the new leader of the SNP, Humza Yousaf, on to talk about his first month in the job.
But as ever, there was so much we couldn't include.
Yes, well, we had that interview with Dominic Raab about the investigation into his bullying, but after a frank discussion, we decided against including it in the podcast.
Yes, because, as he said, he does know where we live, after all.
Also, please keep sending in your questions for our next Time for Questions episode to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. We can't answer your questions if you don't tell us what they are, so send something, please. Just any questions at all.
And if you're on Twitter, check out the out-of-context non-censored Twitter account that someone has set up. They really are quite baffling. But let's start with Humza Yousaf, the new leader of the SNP, who we spoke to earlier this week. Let's take a listen. Humza, absolutely wonderful to get you on the show. We've been trying to get you on for, what is it, Producer Martin, a month, I think?
I believe so, yes, at least.
A long time. And finally you decide to come on.
I don't really appreciate your tone. I've been quite busy. I got a new job. I don't know if you're aware. I got a kind of a wee promotion. And so I've been quite busy. So I have to admit that speaking to you wasn't my top priority. And also as well, I mean, as a side issue, I've had my conservatory done. There was a couple of issues there, underfloor heating.
Oh, dear.
So I have had other things on my plate. So I am sorry if you feel in any way offended that I haven't spoken to you before at this point in time.
I have two things to say to that. One, I've also been very busy with a show.
I think you need to think about the scale of what you're talking about here, okay? I mean, running a nation, I don't mean a nation, I mean running a nation, there's much more involved, many more decisions. So I have been a bit busy, if you'd give me that.
With the greatest respect, a lot of Scotland is just cows. Now, we brought you on the show to talk about the mess this week with the SNP, because on Tuesday, you were going to deliver a little speech, weren't you? Well, you did. You delivered a little speech setting out your vision, and that was rather overshadowed by another arrest in the SNP party. Oh dear. What's going on there?
Well, obviously, it's not an ideal situation.
No.
Nobody likes it when a colleague gets arrested. I mean, not even if you are a drug dealer and maybe it was on the cards. I mean, nobody likes to get that phone call that your colleague, I don't know if drug dealers have colleagues as such, but you don't like getting that phone call when someone has been arrested. And no, it's not ideal, okay? What would be an ideal day for me would not be getting that phone call. An ideal day for me would be a big party with a bouncy castle.
Ooh,
with some of my favourite people there. You know, like
yes.
Franz Beckenbauer or some of the loose women. I'm a big fan of Fatima Whitbread. A big room with those people in it, with a bouncy castle. I love helium as well. Helium is my favourite. Balloons spelling out my name. But no, it wasn't that kind of day. Do you know what? In politics, you don't get ideal days. I'm at the sharp end of politics. I'm running an entire country, okay? I'm in third country. It's difficult. There will be difficult days. If there weren't difficult days, I wouldn't be doing my job properly, would I?
You haven't been doing it for very long.
If you were a boiler engineer, you don't get called out because the boiler's working, do you? No, you get called out when the boiler's faulty or the pressure's down. If you're under tile heating isn't working in a conservatory, that's when you call the people in. So that's what my job is, and I feel privileged to do that job. So no, it hasn't been ideal. But then if every day was ideal, we would be living in cloud la-la land, wouldn't we?
Well, that's very interesting. You bring up some very interesting points there. I mean, I'd like to hark back to what you were talking about, the bouncy castle, because a bouncy castle by many people would be considered an asset. And one of the recent scandals, one might say, with the SNP is surrounding a camper van. You said that you knew nothing about it. Did you know nothing about it? So camper van with SNP money, allegedly, in Nicola Sturgeon's mother-in-law's house.
I want to be quite clear on this, all right? Politicians, like myself, like yourself, can I ask you, did you by any chance take any holidays last year?
Yes.
Right, okay. Where did you go?
Oh, well, I went to the Cayman Islands.
How did you get to the Cayman Islands?
By plane.
Was this a holiday or was this to check your account?
No, it was a holiday.
Okay, so you took a plane to the Cayman Islands to go on holiday. Okay.
Yes, me and my accountant. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you used a plane. How many other people were on the plane? Was it just the two of you, or were the pilot and then maybe a?
I don't know. This is all getting a bit personal, and I'm not the one being interrogated here.
See, this is the problem I have. Okay? You're seeing that I'm getting personal. You are interrogating Nicola Sturgeon's personal effects, and should she not be allowed to go on holiday? Should she not be allowed a camper van?
Well, it was an SNP camper van.
It wasn't. It was Mr. and Mrs. Sturgeon's camper van. It belonged to them. They used it for holidays. They've got an
evil camper van, and people look at London and they look at the Conservative MPs and they blame them because they use so-called expenses for, I don't know, going to the theatre or buying a goldfish, perfectly valid things, and then they have a whole bloody van.
It was obviously a camper van used for personal holidays. Are politicians not allowed to have downtime? I've been in this job for, I think, 17 days, and I need a holiday right now. Okay.
Yes, but what I'm saying that is the problem. You say that, but that is because, if you don't mind me saying, this is the problem with the SNP. If you want my opinion, is that you keep getting, once again, you're the continuity candidate, and the continuity candidate is really another woolly lefty who can't handle it. What you really need is a conservative, someone with more conservative values, someone who could really take the SNP places.
I know we sometimes disagree when it comes to this political side of things, but the alleged embezzlements does sound like a conservative sort of policy. There's a lot of that.
Oh, that's true.
Going on. I mean, it sounds like they were digging up the patio outside Nicola Sturgeon's house. They had the big tents out the front. I mean,
this makes you think, what else was there? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a dead body in there, because otherwise, why make such a song and dance of it?
There could be gold, a time capsule.
My theory is they're looking for Douglas Ross's political career. That's satire for you. I think I'm allowed.
Right, we don't deal in that here. And you seem very defensive of Nicola Sturgeon, which is lovely. But you have thrown some of her policies out of the water, haven't you? And you were supposed to be the continuity candidate. So you were also trying to distance yourself from her as well.
I would say to anyone, right, that has taken on a top job in any walk of life, is that you have to make a mark. If you inherit an office from someone and you don't particularly like the picture of the dogs playing snooker, then you get rid of the picture of the dogs playing snooker.
Well, yeah.
And replace it. Exactly. And you replace it, don't you, with, I favour, you can get like album covers and you get specific frames, and I like to put progressive rock album covers like Yes and
great.
Asia on the wall. I've got
Yeah,
4 of them in a row. So that's me making my mark. Okay, I'm using
That's
a metaphor
quite cool.
here. You can't. You're calling me the continuity. I disagree with that. I'm here to make my mark. Okay, I'm 37 years old. I'm not just going to roll over and continue with what has been happening. And I'm not saying that the way things have been going has been faultless. Far from it. But I will make changes. And why would I not make changes?
And so let's talk about the changes you're going to make. Are you still planning to leave Britain? You know, your biggest trading partners. Are you still planning to do that?
Listen, right, we've been very clear on this. We've been sold down the river many times and we deserve an independence. And that is not to say that we will cut ties with, like you say. I have family in England. I love TV services. I love the music of Oasis and Blur.
Absolutely.
And also a lot of Midlands bands like Black Sabbath. I'm not going to cut cultural ties with England, right? And as you correctly point out, they are our main trading partner. I'll give you an example. Okay, I have a brother. I don't talk to my brother. We fell out many years ago over, I can't even remember, right? But he was getting rid of his flat screen television and we went to my mum and dad's and we did a handover. He brought the flat screen television in his hatchback and I took it off him. It was wordless. We didn't exchange words. I didn't even look him in the eye, but I took the television off him. We were trading partners. Okay,
that's very good.
Maybe we had a difference in opinion, but we still traded. And, you know, that might seem very reductive and simplistic.
It's a horrible story.
Humza,
you see a horrible story. It was effective. I give you the, okay, if my brother and I had been talking, there would have been 45 minutes wasted talking about, I don't know, the latest series of Succession or a football match or something. Like, we were incredibly efficient in our trading. It was wordless. It lasted maybe 15 seconds. I think at one point I had to say to me, when we were putting it into my van. And that to me is efficiency. Okay. Now, if we do, and I hope we do get independence, that's the way I see it going. It'll be efficient and it'll be businesslike. And it doesn't mean that we can't continue in that way for the foreseeable future.
Well, Hamid, I don't know about that story.
You don't believe me? You can ask my parents. They were there.
Can I ask whether this TV was under an SNP branch and whether it was declared?
Can I be quite clear? Okay, number one, it was my brother's television. He bought it from, I think, Curry's. Okay. And number two, no money was exchanged. It was a gift. And it was a gift from someone that was not trying to lobby me or achieve political gain. I would imagine there are many flat screen televisions being handed in by lobbyists at the House of Commons to your Tory cronies. I would imagine more than flat screen television. I would imagine full sky package. Hovermores, sit-down lawnmowers will be passing hands willy-nilly in the House of Commons. I would imagine.
Thank you for coming on the show. We've learned a lot about TVs and bouncy castles, and hopefully that'll be useful to someone. Maybe come on again. I don't know. I don't know. All the best.
Thank you very much for your time.
It seems like every bloody week there's another apology in the news, and so we're not sorry, to announce a new regular segment, Apology Watch, with Eshaan Akbar. I think it was a strong start, wasn't it, Martin?
I mean, we did get a lot of complaints when it went out on air, as well as a couple of legal letters.
Well, that's just content for the next edition then, isn't it? This could be an entirely self-sufficient segment if we just keep upsetting people. Anyway, please enjoy the first edition of Apology Watch.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not.
Hello, Eshaan.
Hello, Harriet. I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
Oh, delighted to have you. And I feel this is a feature that will just be more and more popular.
Yes, and, you know, on Non-Censored, we must never make any apology for the features that we give you, because it seems as though every week someone is having to apologise for something because someone else is upset by it.
Yes, it is. We live, I think, in a new world, a cold new world because of all the snowflakes.
Exactly. You know, history will look back on this period as the apologetic Period.
Oh, I waited for that and it was worth it. It was worth it.
Apologetic.
Oh, that was it. Okay, that was very good. Very good.
Yes,
very good.
I can't help but feel that maybe apologies are actually quite good sometimes. I mean, I just want to throw that into the mix before.
Well, a lot of us wish you'd apologised for that hair. Now, this week, the apology comes from the CEO of Miller Knoll. You might know Miller Knoll as the wonderful furniture makers. They make wonderful chairs. And the CEO, Andy Owens, was doing their, they have like a regular town hall. And she is quoted as saying that the staff need to stop complaining about the lack of bonuses and not live in Pity City. She said, spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need, and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. And she went on to say, I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done. Now, I think people are upset because she's walking away with a multi-million-dollar bonus, some over $6.5 million. And she's saying to her staff that they're not getting one. Now, my view on this is this. If you're unhappy with the bonus situation, the employers that you work for, go somewhere else.
Yes, too right.
Go back to where you came from. Very simply, go back to where you came from. All right?
Wow.
If you're not happy with the situation, right, and you can't change it, Andy Owens, she's a CEO. That's a very important position.
It's a very important position. And that's where the bonuses should be going. You know, what's the point of frittering away bonuses on people that you can just, you can just change?
Absolutely.
Get a new person.
Without Andy Owens, no chairs are being made.
Yes.
Without
that is
you,
so true.
We can find someone to make the chairs.
Yeah. Any old, Tom, Dick and Harry could do it.
Exactly.
I'm not sure she would be making the chairs herself. I mean, I'm not entirely
Tom,
aware
Dick and Harriet could be making it. It's 2023. You've got to.
Yes, you've got to be inclusive and include Harriet Langley-Swindon in there.
Would you make a chair, Harriet?
Joke?
No.
Listen, I've just Googled Pity City, and it's not even a place. You can't go there. The closest thing I could find...
Yes, it is. It's twinned with Milton Keynes.
It's not on Google Maps. The closest thing I could find was...
It's twinned with Milton Keynes, Nuneaton, and
Swindon.
Swindon.
I think you're just being insulting to those places now. The closest thing I could find was Party City, which is on 14th Street in New York. And Party City, I'm sure you'll agree, is probably the opposite of Pity City. So
sounds better
of all,
than Pity City.
Well, it depends how much you've drunk at Party City. I often get quite pitiful after a few drinks.
That was a sad one there, wasn't it? It was a sad joke. Listen, my problem here is that a CEO with access to millions of pounds was unwilling to give away even a little bit of a bonus to these hardworking individuals. If there's any money to go around,
not access,
it should be shared.
She's earned.
Also, Martin, you have to remember these CEOs. They have a more expensive life that they have to upkeep. It's really hard. They've got sort of bigger mortgages.
Yes.
They've often got children in private schools.
Yes.
They've got stables.
Yes,
they've got outdoor swimming pools. All these things cost maintenance.
Houses, of course.
And all the little people, what do they need bonuses for? They all live in, huts anyway. That doesn't need any upkeep.
Listen, it's just like giving money to the homeless, right? They're just going to spend it on frivolous, useless things. If you give the bottom rungs of a company bonuses, what they're going to do, just buy more M&S meals for two, but actually eat it themselves because no one loves them.
Yeah.
I suppose it's like the famous saying goes, give a man a bonus and he'll eat for a day. Tell him he's not allowed a bonus and he'll eat more days. Is that how it goes?
Martin, did you steal that? Because that was really quite insightful.
It's not
quote.
a real saying. It's the point is that I mean she's now been forced to apologise, and it's up to us to decide whether or not that is a legitimate apology that should be taken seriously, or if it's just something that she's doing to escape.
Has she apologised?
She's been forced to apologise, and you know me, you know what I think about apologies. I don't think anyone should ever be apologised for anything.
What did she say, Eshaan? What was her apology? Do you know?
She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You're so sad about the bonuses. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I hope you're all right. Oh, don't be sad." Something like that. You can see it on the tweet that she put out. Oh,
yeah, you can. I always think it's amazing how much of tone you can capture.
Let me summarise this for you. In keeping with producer Martin's sayings,
yes,
the way we can summarise this, right? The early bonus catches the worm. No bonuses means you are a worm.
Oh, that's very good too. See,
it's quite insulting. I think
you two have been reading some really good quote books.
I've got a book of Japanese proverbs written by Americans.
Well, you know what? I think whoever wrote those, they deserve bonuses. But you know what? I think the people who printed the pages don't.
Because the printer did it.
Easy.
Wow.
And you can't
Easy.
put an inanimate object.
Yeah.
What's the inanimate object going to do? Just like you. You're not going to do anything. You're as useful to us as an inanimate object.
A chair, even, you could say.
A chair, like Miller Knoll makes. Exactly.
Yes. I think also people need to realise that bonuses are called bonuses because they're big and exciting and you can buy something big with it. But if you have to share, if you have to split the difference and give the bonuses out to other people who don't really know what thing to get, don't understand what a good bottle of wine is.
Yes.
Wasted, isn't it?
Absolutely. I completely agree. And also, these are chairs we're talking about. Chairs are only good for three things: sitting, standing, and coitus.
Interesting. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's very, very true.
I'm not going to disagree with Eshaan on the chair debate. I don't really want to get into that side of things.
Yeah, I'm not even sitting on a chair at the moment. I'm squatting.
That's much better for you, actually, to squat.
It is.
I made my husband do it all the time.
Right.
On top or bottom?
Top.
Now, what I would say is that whether or not you like the apology that she's made, I think it still stands that there is a problem with the root cause of this, which is to encourage workers to work hard beyond the legal ramifications of their job. This kind of grind set mentality that everyone seems to be in now, and also to use quite derogatory language in order to achieve that. I don't think it's on. If you're not going to be able to give people bonuses, fine, but don't say that they're going to pity City.
If Miller Knoll employees, right, don't want to work that hard, they could just take a seat on one of the chairs they're making and take that seat, go down the lift, take that seat outside, sit outside the building, because you have no place in this building. Okay?
Right.
This building is for people who are committed to the job, like Andy Owens, the CEO.
Right. Do they sit in the car park?
Well, I mean, for sure.
Or on the pavement?
Pavement, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because much to Harriet's point earlier, Andy Owens, right, her high-value spending is going to have significant impact on the country's GDP. We need to think bigger, Little Martin, right, with his pithy income, going to Poundland,
6
or
foot
Sports
tall.
Direct and buying 3,000 pairs of socks for £2.
I wouldn't
All you've
buy
done is
that
added
many.
more socks.
I wouldn't be
house.
buying that many socks. I tend to darn my own socks when they become a little threadbare.
I thought you only ever use socks for, well,
what?
Eshaan, no, come on now.
What's going on?
Now look, let's wrap this up. So, I think firstly I want to ask: do we accept her apology? But do you even think we should have? Eshaan, you're of the idea that she shouldn't even have had to made an apology to begin with, and I agree with you.
She shouldn't have had to make the apology. And actually, the way she apologised, I appreciated. Oh, you and your poor bonuses, how sad.
Yes, I mean that's good. And producer Martin, you do think that she should have apologised? Do you accept her apology?
I think she shouldn't have said it in the first place. I think this pity City business is very insulting. If she had misspoke and she was actually talking about Party City, if she was talking about Pittymore Lane in Fareham, Pittsmore Road in Sheffield, that would be a different matter. But Pity City, it's not a real city, and it's rude and confusing to say so. So I personally, I will take her apology, but I'll take it with a pinch of salt, and it's a salty apology for me.
Well, I pity the fool who
That's
gets
another
upset
catch.
about their lack of bonuses.
Right, okay. Was that in the book as well?
Yes.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not.
Free speech has never been more under attack. Only this week, Fox News had to pay $787 million just for having an opinion.
Right, yet in the interests of transparency, we should declare that we share some major investors with Fox News. And obviously, we would like to reiterate the legal statement made by our cousins across the pond.
Yes, whatever they said. We're sorry too. See? That's another apology for next week's show. Anyway, we were joined by Senior Associate Legal Counsel for Fox News, Tom Bantam, to explain the situation. Tom, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on, Harriet. It is nice to be on a show that is not in the chokehold of the radical left agenda, like, your BBC has sadly succumbed to, so it is an honor.
Thank you, Tom. I mean, you have no idea what it's like living here in England. We are a dying minority.
Well, it's just great to be here on such a momentous day.
Thank you, Tom. Well, it was great. It's great to have a sort of kindred spirit. Now, it's interesting, your choice of words there. You say that's a tremendous day because you are, of course, here to talk about Fox News settling in the Dominion defamation case for $787.5 million, which is, to my little ears, quite a lot of money. But do you see this as a win for Fox News?
Oh, yeah. This is a huge, huge win. It's exactly what we wanted. It's showing that we have journalistic integrity. The country can move on. We've saved a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of money. A 6-week trial, it would have gotten in the way of a lot of Mr. Murdoch's important travel and divorce plans. So this is a real win.
That's so good. That's so good. I think a company that can kind of factor in the personal as well is really important.
Exactly. It's a personal win, but also a win for freedom. And we're very excited about that. So
yes. Now, I really like the fact that you use that word because this, to me, is about freedom. It's about freedom of opinion. And I think it is awful, actually, that Fox News just trying to express an opinion. Well,
I would say, Harriet, the Fox, we did not generate those opinions. We provided the platform upon which that our anchors would be able to make exceptional television. And that's what they do.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at things like Succession, that's not real. None of that is real, but that's great television. So where is Jesse Armstrong's lawsuit, for example?
Well,
very true.
Mr. Bantam, producer Martin here. I just do need to
Hi, Martin. How are
flag up the fact that I'm very well, thank you. But the $787 million payout would suggest that perhaps you're not dealing in the same world as dramatists and whatnot. You're operating a news channel, and you knowingly allowed some of your most watched anchors to spread misinformation, which directly caused unrest throughout the whole of America, undermining the democracy of the country.
I don't quite understand or buy how freedom of expression and democracy in news form could undermine democracy. We are a news organization, and everything we said was new. It was so incredibly new, some of it had never been said before.
Wow,
so,
yes.
Legally speaking, there's no wiggle room there. We were giving you news, and we will continue to do that to the highest of our ability.
It's interesting. I was just saying, Harriet, I know we were talking off air about some of the allegations that were made up by Fox News.
Well,
for example,
I would say again, nothing was made up by Fox News. The only things we made up were the logo and the name. It's not really a fox, Martin, okay? It's just a name.
Oh, dear. Yes,
it's a shame,
Martin,
if anything, because I think I'd like the company more if there was a fox at the helm. I mean, you said
but Martin, Fox's opinions are rubbish.
I would not trust someone who goes through your trash.
Well, Actually, Tom, I'm going to pick you up there because some very noble journalists have done that in the past, and made some really wonderful results.
You know what, Harriet? I often think apologizing is very woke, but on this occasion, I agree with you. I'm sorry about that. See, we are accountable. This is an act of accountability. We understand that people felt that our opinions that were shared on our platform weren't quite what some people wanted. So we we said, here you go. Here's a 800 million apology. That's a big apology.
So you saying it isn't, the money was an apology?
Well, that's how people are taking it. I think it's more a gesture to the flag, a gesture to the American eagle. It's a gesture to freedom to say, look, we understand everybody's different. Let's use this money to bring people together. And I really hope that Dominion will use this money to stop rigging elections.
Right. Okay. So you're really going back there.
The only way I'm going back is making the country great again, Martin. That's the only way I'm going back.
I mean, you suggested that Dominion rigged the election.
Did I? When did I say that?
Well, your anchors did. I think that's the point, and there has to be a bit of accountability, a bit of culpability there.
And Tom, I think you may have done about a minute and a half ago yourself.
No, I'm just saying if they are, they need to stop. They might be.
Right. Yes.
You know, we don't know that they're not. We don't know that they do. Fine. It's good for journalists in an important standpoint to say maybe they are. We should always say maybe, guilty until proven innocent. That's what I always say.
The thing is, Tom, of course, the major claim was that Dominion were rigging the election, which is huge and unacceptable. But there were lots of other smaller claims that came with it. Here, one of your presenters said the polling machines might be wiping your bank cards. One of them said,
and that's scary. I mean, they imagine if they were. Scary. Imagine if they were. Yeah. We need to question everything. I don't understand this thing on the left of not wanting to question anything. What if they are? Maybe they're not. Fine, but we got to put it out there. We got to check with people.
I mean, there was no evidence for that. One here says it's stealing babies. How could a polling machine steal
babies?
That's a good question.
Well, no, it's not true.
How could a polling machine?
Right.
How could it steal babies?
But that's terrible. But Martin, if it was on the news, then maybe it was.
Another quote here says that one of the polling machines was getting a bit lusty.
I think the burden of proof is on you here. I mean, can you prove that the polling machine was not lusty?
Well, do you know what I'm finding? Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. What I think is quite interesting about this little discussion is Judge Eric Davies said that in this trial, he witnessed the best lawyering. He said it was the best lawyering I've ever had.
No, he did not. He did not say that.
He did, Tom. And I just look at you, and I'm there thinking, you poor producer Martin with his little brain is trying to talk about, stand up for the machines and these sort of sexy machines doing terrible things. And Tom, you just dismiss that in an instant.
I mean, people like Martin are saying that we're not doing this trial because we don't want to air our dirty laundry. And my instinct as a lawyer is to ask, who airs dirty laundry? You air clean laundry. Why are you airing the dirty stuff? We clean it, we air it. It's all out in the open now. We can have these conversations, but, don't bring to me your opinion, Martin, as fact. That's not... We deal in opinion.
Well, I think the quote that I bring it back to is from the Dominion lawyer who said, lies have consequences. And I think that's really something to think about before you go peddling opinion as fact, because people listen.
I don't peddle
to these things, and there's some peddling going on. There's some peddling, whether you're peddling or someone else.
I've never been on a bicycle in my life. I drive. I drive a car.
Well, you should give it a try, because it's actually
lies
a very
have consequences,
fun day out.
but in the words of Jesus Christ, so does the truth.
That's so true.
What did Jesus say that?
They also say, the opinions will set you free. So
exactly.
I think that's also really important.
I think this is getting a little confused here. The point is that we have a news channel here that's had to pay out almost £1 billion because of some very misleading statements.
A settlement does not an admission of guilt make. I mean, it's really the same with your Prince Andrew, right? Paying someone a settlement, that's just, it's the way you deal with the mafia or terrorists. You pay the ransom if you want your family to live. And thankfully, the Fox family is alive and well.
Tom, thank you so much. You've been absolutely wonderful. Keep doing the best lawyering you can. I know you will do.
I'll try. Thank you so much, Harriet. It was a genuine honor.
Well, that's it for this week. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and keep those questions coming to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Sanjeev Kohli, Will Sebag-Montefore, and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.